Hi guys, this is my to Jbeam update. This is the first release of the alpha. As my to Jbeam is a work in progress, I don't want to spend right now too much time doing the full tutorial explaining my one-on-one and import and talk about the Jbeam or not Jbeam, where to put the theory about the structure you need to place. As this also requires a little more testing than this last week that's been quite fast-paced, I want to approach it with more clarity. And again, as this script is a work in progress, some features will be better, some features will be implemented. I don't want to spend too much time in this moment telling stuff that may be dropped in the future or different, okay? So right now this will be useful to only those who want to adventure using it. You will have to have some knowledge about the Jbeam if you want to glue parts together to make a vehicle, but you can already make some assets that are just one part object, okay? But it's first of all, I already placed sockets as slots types now, okay? So let's see what we are going to make. We are going to make these dumpsters. It's a little bit more complex than the bow and the bridge. And let's see it in action. Okay, let's jump into our car, reset it, and crash test. Quite resilient, quite absorbent, heavy. Can collide with each other. Okay, so little assets. Okay, let's get back to Maya and let's try to be I'll try to be quick because I already took your time in previous videos telling everything all once again. So I will not approach multi-part right now. Just focus on the dumpster, okay? So, quick checklist. First thing, checking the Maya preferences if the Z up is set to up, the word coordinate system is set to Z up and centimeters. You can do it by pressing this button or going to Windows, setting preferences. On the settings part, make sure you are using Z-up and working units to centimeters. It can work with different units, but I'm not sure if you will encounter some problem working with that. Again, this is alpha. If you want to try it, go ahead, be my guest, okay? Next step. Position and freeze transformation of your objects with the pivots on the zero of the board. Okay, so we have high and low. Let's select both. In this case, the position is already good. Okay, let's position it here. Want it centered. Our pivot is here and it's translated. We want to go to the origin of the board. Press and hold D to access the edit pivot, and holding X also. It's shown here that it's snapping to the grid. Okay, I drag with the middle mouse with D and X pressed, and I can snap the pivots to the origin. Okay, it's still translated, so we go to modify and freeze transformation. If you want to check the configuration, make sure everything is checked. Okay, now we can focus on our low resolution. Okay, you can hide with Ctrl H. You notice on the outliner that it's get dimmed, but I am more used to use isolate selection in the shading. No, sorry, in the show isolate select here. Okay, but you can press Ctrl H to hide what you don't want to see at the moment. Okay. So next step here. So we checked preferences and position and froze the transformations. Now the new part of alpha 3 of the script is that now we have triangulation mesh capabilities. Okay, so the dynamic part, the dynamic solution, the dynamic collision will have to be triangulated. Don't worry, it won't create new geometry. As you can see, we have 127 faces, but we have already 264 triangles, right? But we need to make them explicit when we export. Okay, so let's go to the polygons menu, mesh, and triangulate. Okay, it's now triangulated. Still has this 264 faces. It didn't matter if it was quad or polygons. Okay, just delete the history in edit, delete by type history, or pressing Alt Shift D. Okay, so it doesn't change the geometry for the dynamics to be computed. Now let's go to our dynamics part. I will be brief about it because we have already seen it in the create soft, make soft. Now we have under our low geometry the particles, right? You can go to the attribute editor of the particles and come here under render attributes, set to numeric, or in the channel box here in the end, particle render type, set it to numeric. Okay, many more points than our previous tests. And let's now create the beams. I will not go in detail about the beams I want to create because this is it's something I'm not an engineer. I do not have much experience, and it's something I will be learning in the next days with you guys and as you test. So with my particle select, I will go to component mode here, or pressing F8, and I want to select just particles. In the first component type, I press the right mouse button and select particles, right? This mesh is a little bit more complex than the ball we tried, the bridge, or any other. Okay, so we can really use just one method. If I use for the whole system the min and maximum, this is about 60. I think these are quite far apart, but we want to beam them. So create measure tool, distance tool. Let's measure the distance between 55 and 7. Holding V, I click 55 and I click 7. It gives me 55 is the distance. Okay, so I can use a little bit more to have some room for any larger distance I didn't see. Okay, so let's try it with 60 with min and maximum solution. Okay, so it did create quite well, but it's lacking. I know it's lacking structure on the edges of the dumpster. Okay, so I can add more to it. I will select the particles, go to component mode, particles selected. I will select these that I want more connections. Okay, I will create, because it's hard to see, but we have beam from 63 to 51, but that distance 60 didn't reach from 63 to 52, and I want to create more structure on the corners. Okay, so I selected this, and I will be adding to existing spring. Okay, so I select the particles, and I will select the spring because I'm adding no beams to this spring. Okay, and I will increase this value to 80. Try it. Let's just I will create a new spring just to see how it's working. It's creating a little bit more than I want, so I will just press Ctrl Z and try 70. Quite good. It's what I want. So I'm happy with that result, and I will now just note that if I create this the springs now, I create another string, but I want all the beams to be on one node only. So let's recap. I select the particle, go to component mode, make particle selectable. Is this a mode? I don't know, sorry if it's not. And I select these particles. I do not want this. I hold Ctrl and drag around it, and I will add this one, and I select. After I select the component particles, don't forget to hold Ctrl and select the spring also, because you will be wanting to add to existing springs. Okay, I'll add, and now I will repeat for the other corners. Component particle is already enabled. I drag a box around it and add this one. I forgot to select also the spring to add. Okay, and now this corner with 83, and select this spring. Now it's creating access on my corners, and the last corner here, shift and select the spring also and add it. Okay, so I am happy with my springs, and let's unhide my high resolution and start the script alpha 03. Okay, so as before, I have my high geometry selected. I will get selected. I have my, this is the new part. I have my low geometry part. I will use it to as triangulated soft body. Remember, you have to triangulate geometry. I have generate collision mesh checked. You sometimes may want to not have it. It will increase performance probably, but we want it here in this case. Now I select the particles and get select, and select these springs that are actually the beams and select. Now I change it here to, instead of vehicles, I use slot type that when you want to create a multi-part object, it's already created on the slot type that it's meant to be. It's named, it's the type and the name of the slot also. Okay, so you want main for your base vehicle or your base part, so that's why it's default to main. Okay, it's not really required, but I place on the name. Okay, and I will choose a metal preset, and collision everything is fine, and write to Jbeam. I'll go to my vehicles folder on BeamNG.drive and create a new folder, my dumpster. And inside my dumpster, I save it with the same name as the folder, dumpster. Save. And now I have to export my high resolution mesh with the Collada exporter. I have the mesh selected on it, and I will go to the file, export selection, and export die. Not this, on my dumpster folder, my dumpster Collada file. Remember, Z up as the axis conversion, and it helps to use the unit system to automatic. Okay, export, and let's test it with BeamNG. I'll just rewind a little and press Ctrl E to see. Dumpster is the previous I had, and my dumpster is the new one. Can check it, it's working already. Okay, all the beams we made, quite a lot for a scenery. I'm using a pretty, the node names is based on this thing. If you want to get better names, you use a better name here. So let's say this is the dump. Okay, and I will the particles and rewrite the Jbeam. Okay, so let's press Ctrl R, and now we have better names. This is because when you are using multi-part systems, you need unique names across them, right? So if you have the lead of the dumpster and you want to connect the lead that is another part to the main body, you use probably this dump 117 node to connect them. Okay, and just checking the collision mesh, it's already working. Okay, let's change back to car. Go to, let's hide this, go to Word Edition, Shift C to go out, and let's add our newly created vehicle, my dumpster. Create. There you have it. Right thumbing because I spawned it on the air without pressing G. My vehicle, my dumpster, create new, and I will place it here on the ground. Press J to start simulation, press Shift C to return to my car, and press F11 to open the game. Press F5 to turn the camera, and there we have it. A quite sturdy dumpster. Okay, so I'll just put the links on the forum and hope to have any feedback if you have, if you want to test it already. Okay, thank you for watching and see you on the forums.